zie je het verschil niet.
Nee, maar ik hoor het ook.
Ja, je hoort het aan het geluid.
Much better than anyone.
Very silent, isn't it?
Yeah. That's one thing.
Hij is zo.
Is this the only one?
Net nu in en uit zoeken.
So the Jackal vehicle you can see around the arena at the moment is currently in use in Afghanistan and is a particularly useful vehicle for patrolling and route clearance, and is clearly a reconnaissance vehicle. Because of the open nature of the top of the vehicle, it's particularly easy to dismount. It's a less aggressive style vehicle and is better used for interacting with the local population. While on patrol today, our Jackal has come across a group of local civilians. On approaching, and as part of their training, they are taught not to just judge the situation immediately, but to take a stock of what's happening and then approach. As you can see at the moment, he's carrying out a search as he's noticed that the local civilians are carrying weapons. You'll also notice that there's a lady with them today. Although she's standing at the rear, you'll notice that the male soldier himself will not approach and will not search the actual lady. Although they're carrying weapons, the point we try nowadays to put across is that we do not judge immediately. Most people in places like Afghanistan have weapons in daily life and are not necessarily an insurgent.
Foto van geluk te maken.
In this instance, the soldiers on the ground, whilst talking to the local inhabitants, have been informed that they believe that there's an enemy position in and around the local area. They're clearly friendly and are trying to help. The main point here is that they've also got a weapon that they should not have. They'll have checked the papers for the civilians themselves, and actually, if needs be, will confiscate any weapons. However, in this case, as you can see, they are friendly and have helped our troops on the ground. The Jackal will now continue on its patrol.
I just managed to see that. Illegally abiding.
Ik dacht al, ik zat helemaal maximaal. Daarom wil ik het.
Stil, hè?
Ja.
So Jackal, the vehicle you see in front of you today is Jackal 1. Having finished their actual patrol, they'll now report up they've spoken to some local civilians. They'll pass on the information that they believe that there's an insurgent position on their patrol route. And that will now be passed to headquarters, and they will decide with the information they collected during the operational tour whether they should react. So the vehicle you see on the mound today is Jackal 1. And more recently it's been through an upgrade and it's catchily named Jackal 2. It's introduced specifically for Afghanistan, and as you can see, as a wheeled variant in the reconnaissance role, and is particularly useful and has been well received for patrolling and clearing of routes. The actual vehicle itself weighs up to approximately 7 tonnes and has a crew of 3. A fuel capacity of 202 litres is approximately the same as 4 family cars. The unfortunate thing is it will not get you as far. It has 2 weapons mounted, one on the front for the commander, which is 7.62 GPMG, and on the top, although today we have a GPMG mounted, it can have a heavy machine gun or a grenade machine gun. It'll carry 1,600 rounds of 7.62 and either 2,000 rounds of 12.7mm for the HMG or 480 rounds of 40mm for the grenade machine gun. The Jackal is a high mobility weapons platform with a unique airbag suspension system allowing rapid movement across varying terrain. Its primary role is deep battle space reconnaissance, rapid assault and fire support, where mobility, endurance and manoeuvrability are important. It has also been used, as I mentioned, for route clearance and more specifically for convoy protection. Its open cab allows for easy interaction with the local population and for quick dismounting. It is designed to protect personnel against roadside explosions and mine attacks.
Ja. Voor niks. Dat ding elektrisch.
So the Jackal 2 variant, which is now in use in operations, the main changes to it are an upgraded armour system, an upgraded engine, and more specifically on top, the actual mount now can pivot through a full 360 degrees and will also still hold either a HMG or a G engine. And as you can see, the vehicle itself is very manoeuvrable and very quick. The next vehicle we'll introduce today is Scimitar 2, again introduced specifically for use in Afghanistan. It's a hybrid vehicle which has moulded together a Spartan hull with a Scimitar turret. We return to tracked vehicles, again used in the reconnaissance and route clearing mode. In reaction to the SIPREP that was sent from the Jackal, headquarters decided to send Scimitar 2 out to give more of a presence on the ground. And as you can already tell from the noise from the tracked vehicle, it definitely has more of a presence as it moves around the countryside. That in itself can be as effective as firing any weapon.
Klein hekje.
Ja. Dat is geen werk. Dat moet je ook maken. Zeg maar. Ja.
Klinkt een beetje rustig.
So as a response to the SIPREP and the movement from headquarters, the Scimitar 2 has now proven the route again and checked for insurgents. It will now move on into support of the Jackal and put in a protected position.
Ik snap niet dat ze dit niet willen zien. Dat is zelf.
Het museum, dat is straks.
Het museum kan altijd doen. Als morgen een kut weer is.
Ja, maar dan ga ik hier nog staan, denk ik. Dan ga ik eerder hier staan. Of slecht links.
So the vehicle now on the mound works very closely with the Jackal in Afghanistan. Scimitar 2, as I mentioned, is a Spartan hull with a Scimitar 1 turret. It's a crew of 3, has a 30mm Rodman cannon, and can fire 6 rounds automatic. It also has a 7.62 coaxial machine gun. Its fuel capacity is 300 litres, which is approximately 6 family cars. It can carry up to 200 rounds with a mixture of armour-piercing or high-explosive rounds and approximately 2,211 boxes of 7.62 rounds. Specifically introduced for Afghanistan, the vehicle has been very well received by those using it from the Royal Army Corps alongside the Jackal. It has improved hull protection, improved seating, defending against IEDs and mine blasts, and improved sights, specifically the driver's sight, which is now a combined day and night sight. As you can notice as well, the caging around the vehicle is known as bar armour, and that's there to protect against the RPG rounds. It now weighs up to 12 tonnes. When it was first brought into service as a basic similar to 1, it was around 8 tonnes, to give you a comparison. It's mainly a reconnaissance vehicle, but with all vehicles in the British Army now in Afghanistan, they expanded their use and role, and it will also be used on route clearance and on convoy protection. It's soon to be replaced by the Specialist Vehicle Programme, a Scout, which will be the first purely specific intelligence, surveillance, target acquisition and reconnaissance vehicle. So it appears that the information that was given from the local nationals was indeed helpful, and the patrol have now come under attack from some insurgents. The Scimitar 2 is moving off and clearing the route back to headquarters. The Jackal 2 will now return fire purely for protection. It should not become decisively engaged as a purely reconnaissance vehicle. It will now withdraw and move back to headquarters. While doing that, it will also report that they come under attack with the location, and headquarters will now record and react upon the information.
Dus er kanon opzetten. Daar zijn maar kleine kinderen bij, dus dat kan je niet zeggen.
Als er gewoon reclame wordt leeg.
Ja.
Maar goed, zijn ze hetzelfde.
Headquarters has now assessed the information passed from the patrol, and part of that information indicated there was a vehicle in the insurgents' location. It's now time to bring on a heavy armour to get a good presence on the ground, like what happened in Iraq, and we'll now introduce Challenger 2. So headquarters have reacted upon the fact that they've received a contact report from the Jackal and Scimitar 2 and have sent out the heavy armour. As you can imagine, and as you've just seen, the Challenger 2 has a very large presence on the battlefield. The vehicle you see today has belonged to ATU for some time and is affectionately known as Megatron.
There we go, that's the
The
one.
Challenger 2 entered service in 1998. It has a crew of 4, a commander, a loader, gunner and a driver. It has a fuel capacity of 1,727 litres with an approximate usage around 1,500, and that's equivalent to about 35 family cars. Its road range is up to about 550 kilometres, which is about 480 miles, which is approximately the distance you'll get out of one family car. Its maximum road speed is at 59 kilometres an hour, and you can imagine a vehicle at that size, at that speed coming towards you, has a very large effect, and more so at times than firing the actual weapon itself. Its operational weight when it came into service was approximately 62 tonnes, and the vehicle you see today now is in excess of 70 tonnes. Its armament is a 120mm rifle barrel with a 7.62 general purpose machine gun coaxially mounted. On top as well, you can also see a 7.62 machine gun, which initially was used on a pintle mount. More recently, that has been changed with the introduction of a remote weapon station, which allows the loader to fire the 7.62 from under armour. It carries 30 fin-stabilised armour-piercing rounds, 16 high-explosive rounds, and 3 smoke. But with all the vehicles you see today, that is all mission-specific and can change at short notice. It's had a significant role in the past operations, including Kosovo, Bosnia, and more importantly, in Iraq. The most recent addition to the introduction of the remote weapon station, as I mentioned, that gives us an under-armour capability and will again be progressed and developed as the vehicle continues in service. It says a lot of additional armour and bar armour around the turret for extra ability to defeat mine blasts, IEDs and RPGs. It is the main battle-winning capability of the British Army. It has a significant ability to hold ground and to project force. Awaiting a life extension programme to extend out to 2035, it will see significant upgrades to the fire control system and the sighting systems. Having finished its patrol, the Challenger 2 has reported to headquarters that it has destroyed the vehicle. However, on finishing its patrol, because of the decent optics it has, it's also noticed that the insurgent position has been reinforced. It reports this to headquarters, and headquarters will now assess the position and what to do next.
Oh, we've got an RPG over there now, look.
Ja, nou ja, ik denk dat zo dat ik
Oh, weet ik veel.
ja, dat is zelf goed.
Ja.
So in reaction to the report from the Challenger 2, headquarters now decides that there's more insurgents on the ground and more personnel, so it's now time to send in our medium armour capability with an infantry fighting vehicle, and we now introduce the Warrior 510 section variant.
Niet zomaar een beetje omdraaien. Voor de slag. Ja. 28 ton, 50 pk.
Dat is gevaarlijk.
De hele dag, hè?
Ja.
Zeker een hele dag.
Having moved around the route again, the Warriors now moved into position and the dismounts have got out the back to take on the insurgents. Its main role from the Warriors is to carry a section in good health to a position so that when they get there, they are fit and ready to fight. As you can see, the section now, the remount having attacked and killed the insurgents, and they will now continue and clear the rest of the route.
Dead insurgents.
See plenty of that on live artists.
Als hij kleiner is, wel van 7 ton, dan zal dit al 10, 12 ton wezen.
Meer gepanzerd.
Dat ding moet, ik kan nog een helling nemen.
Insurgents starting up the vehicle.
They're GTO buildings.
Having moved into position and while clearing the route, the Warriors reported to headquarters that it has now killed all of the insurgents. It now moves into a medium overwatch position. The Warrior family of vehicles came into service in the late 1980s. As with the Scimitar, it has a 30mm Rodman cannon, which also can fire 6 rounds automatic. It also has a 7.62 coaxial chamber. As a crew of 3, you can carry up to 7 in the back as dismounts. It has a fuel capacity of 741 litres and can carry up to 219 rounds, again with a mixture of armour piercing and high explosive, and 11 boxes of 7.62. Its weight now is in excess of its initial introductory weight of 26 tonnes and has a range of 500 kilometres. The role of the armoured personnel carrier, or this infantry fighting vehicle, is to carry troops under protection to the objective and then give firepower support when the dismounts are on the ground. There are 5 other variants. The 551 and 511 variant is the infantry command variant. The 512 and 513 are used by the REME as repair and recovery. The 514 and 515 are variants used by the artillery as observation post and battery commanders vehicles. This vehicle also is awaiting its capability sustainment program, which again will see a significant upgrade to see its use into wars 2030. And the most important change that we see at the moment is the introduction of a 40mm cannon, which will also be used in the S3 program.
Die zit er daar, hè? Ja, dat ding van... oh, dat is ramp. En er zit geen, bij die broodafdeling.
Dat is niet stoppen.
Je stopt het. Op een gegeven moment dan...
Ja.
voelt het eruit.
On completion of the Warriors patrol, it reports again to headquarters that it has cleared the enemy position of the insurgents and it is ordered to move into an overwatch position nearer the insurgents' position.
Ja, niet te veel film.
Ja, gewoon zo kijken.
Dat wist ik weer wat. Heb je een camera bij je?
Jawel.
While moving into position, again the Warrior reports to headquarters that it's moved into its overwatch position but is having difficulty. But because of this, headquarters decides to deploy this heavy armour recovery capability. And we now introduce Krav.
Volgens mij is ze staan daar. Nou, nu wordt het precies staan. Kevin. Een andere bruine
was moving on its patrol to get to the Warren, has reported to headquarters that it noticed is that there's a couple of wrecked vehicles that are now being used as a blockade, and they will be dealt with shortly. The Challenger Armoured Repair and Recovery Vehicle came into service alongside Challenger 1 in the late 1980s. It has a crew of 3, there's a driver, a commander and radio operator, and can also carry 2 in the back for when they're towing a stricken vehicle. It weighs approximately 84 tonnes with the additional armour. It has a 26-litre V12 engine and a fuel capacity of 1,532 litres, and it can travel approximately 500 kilometres. Its only armament is one 7.62 machine gun, which you can see is mounted on the roof. The vehicle is now also used to support the T3 range of vehicles, which is Trojan, Titan and Terrier. The dozer blade, its main use is as a winch anchor when it's using and towing vehicles or pulling out of a position. The actual main winch itself has a 51-ton capacity. It also has an auxiliary winch with a 3-ton capacity, which is used to get some of the tools into place. It has a 7.5-ton hydraulic crane on the roof, which you may be able to make out on the top of the vehicle, and that's used for engine replacements. It can also have a high mobility trailer which it can tow, and that can carry 1 a Challenger pack or 2 Warrior engines. A power pack for a Challenger weighs approximately 5.5 tons, which is about equivalent to 4 family cars. It also has a Broco plasma arc cutting and welding torch, which can be used for cutting track on damaged vehicles.
Onze boot was heel rustig varen, 28 uur. Hard vaart, dat is geloof ik om 45 uur. Heel uitlopen.
Mounted to the crawl, they can be used for route denial and actually clearing routes and digging smaller holes. They can also be used for moving obstacles. The Warrior from its stricken position. scimitar to provide protection against a known enemy position. Process setting up can take as little as 6 minutes. And as you'll have noticed, as I mentioned previously, the dozer blade is dropped to the ground to raise at the front of the vehicle to then provide drop and traction for the winching process. Having now recovered the Warrior, the vehicles will now move back into formation and move back down the route and back to headquarters.